Today we're fresh cracking the most expensive bottle I own. What is it? Well, let's find out. Welcome back to another episode of Neat Bourbon. My name's Tanner, and today is a special day because we're fresh cracking the most expensive MSRP bottle that I own. Now, this bottle is pretty expensive and is not something that, I would normally go out and buy. But I actually won some Super Bowl squares, and so I was actually able to pick up this bottle for $45. Now, I know there's a lot of grief out there because this bottle is so expensive that it's just not worth it. But for $45, maybe it's a steal. What is it? It's the Willett 8-year wheated. Now, Willett is a distillery that, I don't really have too many of their offerings. I've never had one of their real purple top bourbons. I've had their family estate, the 4-year rye, that one's pretty good. The pot still. The Noah's Mill, I actually did like the Noah's Mill a good bit. So, so that's basically the extent, of my experience with Willett. This bottle was, clocking in at about like $250 MSRP, which is insane. But, to that same point, everything from Willett is, pretty expensive. Like even their 4-year rye at that $80 mark. So anyways, for $250, I was probably never going to buy this bottle. Like $200 is really kind of my cap. Once you start getting over that, I haven't had too many bourbons I think are worth that. So taking a yo on a bottle over that, it's only 8 years age stated. I don't know. To me, like it's not something that I would buy, nor would I spend like the $50 or $60 probably a pour at a bar, So this isn't something, that I would have been able to try if I didn't win the Super Bowl squares and pick this up for the ripe old $45. So really excited. I did just fresh crack this. I've been letting it sit in the glass for a little bit, wanted it to aerate some. But a little bit about this bottle, it is a blend. The mash bill is undisclosed, so we don't know very much. And yeah, so Willett has the Family Estate series for the real purple tops for their bourbons. All of those are single barrels. And again, all those mash bills, are undisclosed as well, unless, the person buying the barrel, will know the mash bills on those. So that's kind of cool. Other than that, don't really know too much about it. It is outrageously expensive. It comes in this black bottle. A lot of people think that's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm probably the minority here. I'm not the biggest fan of it. This is an incredibly heavy bottle, $250. You get a synthetic cork. You can't really, you can't see into it at all. So I don't really know how much is gone. And it's a very heavy bottle. So, who knows? But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the nose here. This does clock in at 108 proof, 8 years age stated. This is the 2022 release. I realize there is a 2023 release, so I imagine this is an annual thing. Again, $250. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the nose. Whoa. Actually smells pretty good. Man. Yeah, I actually get like a faint amount of like red fruit there. You can definitely pick up like the weediness in this. Like, how like the 107, wow, that's some cinnamon. I take that back. I actually was able to try a scotch of a 6-year purple top bourbon, and that thing was very cinnamon forward. So yeah, pick up a hint of that cinnamon there. But yeah, that red fruit was kind of dominant up first. Really get like an earthiness to it. Like an earthy, weedy green. That's kind of like what I was talking about there when I was like that wheat notes kind of like jump out of there. I know this bottle's probably compared a lot to like, you know, the Weller Antique. You know, I mean, that's $50. This is $250. So, you know, like 1/5 the price. Of course, that's going to be better value. But hey, you can at least buy this for $250, I guess. Yeah, a little bit of the caramels there, a lot of cinnamon, a little bit of that fruit, a lot of like that weedy grain, you know, earthy notes. Yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, it's like pretty solid notes. Like just looking at the glass, you know, those legs are kind of holding up there, dripping down real slow. So that's kind of getting me a little optimistic there about the viscosity on this thing. You know, this bottle is very fancy, you know, gold lettering. It's all, you know, embossed and raised a little bit. So that's kind of nice. You do get the purple cap. So, you know, I realize a lot of people don't really consider this a purple top because it's not a single barrel. It's not part of the Family Estate series. You know, but hey, purple tops don't come to Virginia, so probably never have one. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the palate. Cheers. Whoa. Wow. Okay. It's interesting. So there is it's like a vanilla-y, like ethanol-y, like it drinks hot and spicy. And I think that's probably just because this is a fresh cracked granite. It's only been sitting in the glass for like, you know, 5 or 6 minutes. I realize that like that note can kind of get tamed down a little bit, you know, with a little more time. Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely like a cherry peel that I'm getting there. It's not like that, like rich, you know, like Luxardo cherry. It's like it dries out a scotch on the back end. It's more of like the cherry peel. So you're getting that cherry flavor. It is like dark and rich, like a dark cherry peel, but it's just not as like, you know, luscious and juicy as like you would think of like biting into, you know, like an actual Luxardo cherry. So I think it's more of the peel there. Yeah. Yeah, but that red berry, that red berry is a cherry skin, and I just want to make sure like that I drive that point home. I do think, in my opinion, it is a cherry skin. Then going over into like those the deep brown or deep cinnamon, not necessarily brown sugar. I get spicier there on the tongue, which is like a plume almost, you know, kind of like a cinnamon there. And it does have like a lot of vanilla entwined in that. Not really like picking up much oak like at all there. You know, I mean, it's only 8 years. You know, you can usually get like some oak though on 8 years. It is definitely drinking its proof though. You know, 108. Yeah, I mean the sweetness is really starting to come out a little bit more. Like that cherry note up front is sticking on around a little bit longer. But like that cinnamon on the mid palate is like definitely dominant. Trying to find some oak. I mean, maybe a scotch there on the back end. Like I am getting like a little bit like hints of like dark chocolate there, which is usually a note that kind of like coincides with oak for me there. But yeah, a little bit more like that sweetness there is coming in on the finish. So like that cherry's kind of like coming back a little bit there on the finish. Like when I breathe out, you know, I get a few hints of the cherry there. But yeah, like so just going to like my overall thoughts, like I think this is a pretty solid pour. I think it's like relatively complex. Like I'm really happy with it. I'm really excited to see how this bottle opens up because it does, you know, taste like a little tight. And when I mean tight, just with kind of like the ethanol like flavor there, like it just makes the notes feel a little bit sharper, you know, than I think that this will be, you know, in a couple months. But overall, like I think this bottle is like pretty solid. I definitely don't think it's worth $250. You know, I mean, like that's just like a lot of money to pay for a bottle, and this just drinks like really good whiskey to me. It's not like blowing me away by any means, but it is a very tasty pour. It is pretty complex, so like I'm very happy with it, you know. But for $250, like those sharp, like ethanol, like flavor profiles I was kind of getting in the initially, like to me, I wouldn't want that to be in a bottle that like I spent like $250 on. Like it was a little tight there, but anyways, yeah, I was able to get this bottle for $45, so like I'm so pumped to have this bottle on my bar for $45. Incredibly lucky. But you know, this bottle is going to get shared around with a bunch of people because immediately when someone sees a Willett purple top on the bar, they're going to be like, ooh, can I try that? So, you know, I'm going to see how, I imagine we'll probably drink the first third of it down pretty quick, and then it'll probably last a little bit longer. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, would you please leave me a comment down below? Have you had the Willett 8-year wheated? What are your thoughts? Do you get kind of like that wheated, like wet wheat note on this? Because that was, you know, a little different, but you know, hey, it is a wheater, so like, you know, I guess you should have some wheat notes in there. Not everything is like those Buffalo Trace, all like red cherry dominant wheats. So, but yeah, anyways, just let me know in comments down below, like, do you agree with these tasting notes? Have you had it? Do you think it's worth the $250? And as always, guys, this is Neat Bourbon. My name's Tanner. And pop the bottles and share the pours. And we'll see you in the next one.